So as I read, the second class is rejection. And it reads, if anyone will not welcome you or listen to your words, leave that home or town and shake the dust off your feet. Matthew 10:14. And what this is saying is pretty obvious. If someone is rejecting you, and this is what Jesus is saying, the context of this is Jesus speaking to his apostles. And what he's telling them is, if you go to speak my word and they reject you, step out, wipe your feet off, and wipe the dust off your feet and leave. And what he's telling his apostles, he's telling them to go make disciples and spread the gospel. But what his apostles are pretty much mentioning is that people are denying them. People are kicking them out. And what Jesus is saying is, if they reject you, just move on. And pretty much it's their loss. And this is what we must do in our life. If people are to come and reject you, move on. Dust off your hands, wash your hands of them, and say, you know what, God, do what you will with them. I'm not asking you to curse them, but do what you will with them, because they obviously don't want me, so it's their loss, God. Because all I'm trying to do is spread the word, your word, to them. There's many different places that we can experience rejection. One of the common places, because almost everyone has a job, is rejection at work. Your colleagues, your bosses, your partners, whatever it may be, depending on where you're at in the company chain, there's not always going to be people that like what you say, like what you do, like what you believe in. You know, it's hard to please everyone. And we must realize that it's impossible to please everyone. You may be pleasing almost everyone, but there's that one person that you just can't please no matter what. And that was my father. And I've moved on and gained forgiveness. I asked him to give me the strength to forgive. I don't have to like my father, but I have to forgive him. Because what a lot of people don't realize is, if we expect to be forgiven for our transgressions and our wrong, we must first forgive them. Because if we do not forgive, then Jesus and God will not forgive us. And then we are hindering our forgiveness. There's family rejection. Right there, as I just said with my father. There's many times in life that your family will just not like what you're doing. They won't like the decisions you're making. They won't like that you're having children or how many children you're having. They won't like who you're having children with. But if you truly love that person, it does not matter what you are doing, as long as you know that what you're doing is in the kingdom of heaven to glorify him. We can be rejected by our spouses. Our spouse may not like what we do. You know, me and my wife, it's a marital thing. Me and my wife do not like some things that the other does.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, go on.
Like, one thing that he doesn't like that I do is when I make a little noise with my finger. Like this, the slightest, tiniest noise annoys him. So that's one thing.
It's like a weird, I don't know, but what she's not telling you, and no, we ain't gonna fight, is it's when she's rubbing my head or something, and she's doing that in my ear.
By your ear.
By my ear, and I'm like, please just stop. You can be rejected by your partner with your spouse. Your spouse may not do something you like, or your spouse may have a job that you don't like or that you don't approve of. Oh my gosh.
Such a cute baby.
Yeah, such a beautiful baby. Oh, she's shy. We may do things that others do not like in gestures, in words. When you do not give the proper place it belongs, aka when you do not place something where it truly belongs, that's something that really bothers me with my children. Is I'll put something where I know it was, and then and then I'll be like, I know I put it there. Where did it go? And then my kids would be like, I don't know, Daddy. Well, didn't you have it last? And it's not being mean. It's just like, leave my stuff alone, please. We can be rejected in church. I can remember a story, and it doesn't matter the names, where I had a call to lay hands on this guy. This guy was truly possessed, and he came into the church at Central Familia Cristiana. And he was up at the altar, and I had a call to come up to him. God said, go lay your hands on this man. So I went and laid my hands on this man, and I started praying. And a brother in the church grabbed my shoulder and said, brother, you're not worthy. Let this be for the pastors. Let this be for the deacons, because you do not contain the strength it takes to truly pray for this man, to be a part of this man's deliverance. So I felt really rejected, and in fact, I didn't go to church for a couple years. I didn't go back to that church because that one brother, it really hurt me, because I was called to do it by God. And if you're not born again, baptized, that person could reject you. Many people in the church will fail to understand that we are all a family, that we should not reject each other but lift each other up. Many times we are rejecting the church because the person lacks that of the spiritual maturity. And I realized that later on, my wife told me about this brother, and that he was a new Christian. So he was only doing probably what he was told in his past, that you are not worthy to do this. You are not worthy of this. You are not worthy to pray for this person. You are not worthy to step forth and pray for this person. And remember that we see rejection everywhere. We're always going to see rejection. So that's why it's important that you just shake the dust off your feet, though you do not allow it to weigh you down. That whether it's from your spouse, your church, your work, it does not matter where the rejection comes. Learn to just wash your hands of that person or that place. If a company is rejecting you, pray to God and say, God, is this truly where I'm meant to be? Is this where you've called me to be? And a lot of times, if God doesn't like what's happening in that place of work, God will say, no, my child, this is not for you. I go ahead and dust your feet off. In other words, quit. But go ahead, wife.
And I just want to say that with rejection, some people don't do it on purpose, but you always have to forgive them for rejecting you. I know that growing up, my mom told me that I was pretty much a rejection because she didn't want me. So before I was born, I was rejected. But, with God, I learned to forgive. And through forgiveness, you can surpass any form of rejection. Through Jesus, you can surpass any rejection.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's what I'm going to leave you guys with.
Yeah, I was going to say. So, we'll now go on to... I'm going to stop the video.